Being straight with you, the next 2 years have everything it takes to mark the peak of PlayStation's history. And no, that's not an exaggeration. From GTA 6 to No Law, and even games many people haven't heard of yet, these 15 titles are delivering visuals so insane they feel unreal. Come with me and discover everything that's on the way.
Marvel's Wolverine. Insomniac Games has already proven they are the masters of the PlayStation hardware with Spider-Man, but Marvel's Wolverine is where they are finally taking the gloves off. What makes this a true graphical showcase for 2026 isn't just the environments, but the real-time flesh and bone system. For the first time, we are seeing a character that physically reacts to damage in a way that feels visceral. Logan's skin, muscle, and clothing tear dynamically during combat, and you can actually watch his wounds knit back together through his healing factor in real time, without any canned animations. The level of detail on his adamantium claws, showing the micro-reflections of the environment and the blood splatter physics, is staggering. This isn't just a superhero game, it's a mature, gritty cinematic experience that utilizes the PS5's SSD to create seamless transitions between gameplay and high-fidelity cutscenes. The lighting in the rugged wilderness of the Canadian wilderness uses advanced ray-traced shadows to create an atmosphere that is dark, moody, and undeniably next-gen.
Grand Theft Auto 6. There is no other game on this list that carries the weight of Grand Theft Auto 6. Rockstar Games is known for pushing boundaries, but the jump in fidelity from Red Dead 2 to the state of Leonida is something that almost defies belief. The graphical power here is focused on density and life. We're looking at a Vice City where the crowds on the beaches are procedurally generated with unique body types and behaviors, and the water physics are the most advanced ever seen in a commercial product, featuring real-time wake and buoyancy simulations. The lighting engine, a new iteration of Rage, handles the neon-soaked nights of Vice City with a level of ray-traced global illumination that makes the city feel tangible. The interior to exterior transitions are finally one-to-one, meaning you can look through a glass window into a fully detailed store or club without any fake textures. GTA 6 isn't just a game, it's the benchmark that will define the graphical limits of this entire console generation for years to come. Crimson Desert has evolved from an MMO into a single-player epic that looks like a pre-rendered CGI movie running in real time. Pearl Abyss is using their proprietary engine to deliver a level of material work that humiliates most modern RPGs. The way the leather of your armor creases, how the fur on your cloak reacts to the wind, and how mud realistically cakes onto your boots after a rainy trek through the Pywell Wilderness is technical wizardry. But the real shaker here is the combat VFX. Every sword clash produces a shower of physically reactive sparks, and the magic effects illuminate the environment with such intensity that they cast real-time shadows on every blade of grass. The scale of the world, combined with the lack of pop-in and the incredible draw distances, makes this one of the most immersive fantasy experiences ever conceived. It's a game that demands the most out of your hardware, proving that we haven't even scratched the surface of what a modern GPU can do when optimized for raw, gritty realism. Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Capcom is on a legendary run, and Resident Evil 9 Requiem is the game that finally moves the RE engine into the hyper-real era. The focus here is on atmospheric photorealism. We are talking about character models that use advanced subsurface scattering to the point where skin looks alive, reflecting the moisture in the air and the exhaustion of the character. The environments, reportedly set in a vast, haunted island, use nanite-level geometry to ensure that every rock, tree, and crumbling building has a physical presence. But where the graphical power truly shines is in the dynamic gore and deformation system.
Following the legacy of RE2 Remake, Requiem takes it to the extreme. Enemies react to every shot with anatomical precision, and the lighting in the dark, claustrophobic corridors uses ray-traced reflections to make the blood and grime look terrifyingly real. It's a masterclass in horror aesthetics, proving that the RE engine is still the most efficient and visually stunning tool in the industry today.
Pragmata. After years of silence and speculation, Capcom is finally pulling back the curtain on Pragmata, and it's clear they weren't just polishing textures, they were reinventing their approach to sci-fi realism. This game is a showcase for the next-gen capabilities of the RE engine, specifically focusing on its physics-based rendering in low-gravity environments. The way dust and lunar debris float and react to your character's movements is a technical marvel, but the real star is the material work on the exosuits. You can see the individual layers of carbon fiber, the hydraulic fluid pulsing through tubes, and the realistic wear and tear on the metallic surfaces. Diana, the mysterious girl you protect, features some of the most advanced AI-driven facial animations ever seen, with eyes that track light sources and react to the player with eerie precision. The game utilizes heavy ray tracing for reflections on the glass visors and lunar bases, creating a sterile yet beautiful aesthetic that feels truly alien. Pragmata is Capcom's way of showing they can compete with the most visually ambitious sci-fi films, delivering a crisp, high-fidelity experience that pushes the console's memory to its absolute limit.
Let's use this when we're outnumbered.
Phantom Blade Zero. Phantom Blade Zero is the game that finally bridges the gap between traditional wuxia martial arts and gothic steampunk in a way that feels physically tangible. What makes this a graphical powerhouse in 2026 is its motion-captured combat fidelity. Unlike many action games that rely on canned animations, Phantom Blade Zero uses a system where every sword strike and parry is rendered with one-to-one precision, meaning the blades actually collide and react based on the physics of the hit. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the game utilizes nanite to create environments that are ridiculously dense. Think of ancient Chinese temples where every tile is a 3D object and every drop of rain creates a ripple on the mossy stones. The lighting is moody and desaturated, emphasizing the dark fantasy tone through high-contrast shadows and volumetric fog that reacts to your character's fast-paced movements. The speed of the combat, combined with the level of detail on the character's flowing robes and weapons, creates a visual flow that is unprecedented in the genre. It's a masterclass in art direction and technical execution that proves that high-speed action doesn't have to sacrifice a single pixel of quality.
Control Resonant has always been at the forefront of lighting technology, and Control Resonant is the culmination of everything they've learned. Using their proprietary Northlight engine, they're pushing a full ray tracing or path tracing implementation on consoles that was previously only seen on high-end PCs. The result is a world where light doesn't just hit surfaces, it bounces, bleeds, and refracts through the brutalist architecture of the oldest house. The destruction system has been overhauled to be fully systemic, meaning if you throw a chair at a wall, the wall shatters realistically based on the material. Wood splinters, concrete crumbles into dust, and metal bends. The resonant aspect of the title refers to a new visual effect that distorts the environment in real time, creating impossible geometry that shifts and melts before your eyes without any loading screens. This level of environmental reactivity, combined with the hyper-realistic character models and cinematic depth of field, makes Control Resonant a benchmark for smart graphics, where the tech isn't just for show, but is woven into the very fabric of the gameplay.
I'm not loving the odds.
I've had worse.
007 First Light, IO Interactive is taking everything they mastered in Hitman and injecting it with a massive dose of cinematic adrenaline for 007 First Light. This isn't just a stealth game, it's a globe-trotting visual spectacle. The Glacier engine has been upgraded to handle massive, open-ended environments like the Swiss Alps or the streets of Istanbul, with a level of detail that is staggering. The social stealth graphics are particularly impressive. The way Bond's tuxedo reacts to light in a crowded casino, or how NPCs feature unique, high-fidelity faces that make the world feel populated and real. But the real graphical showstopper is the Bond tech. From the gadget reflections to the high-speed car chases where the motion blur and particle effects, sparks, smoke, and debris are rendered with cinematic precision, First Light feels like playing a $300 million movie. The lighting focuses on noir realism, using deep blacks and vibrant highlights to create a high-contrast look that defines the spy genre. It's a polished, sharp, and undeniably cool graphical showcase that proves IO is now in the top tier of world-building developers.
A city that don't belong to anyone.
No Law. Developed by the visionary team at Neon Giant, No Law is a first-person RPG that is essentially a love letter to the cyber noir aesthetic, but executed with 2026-level processing power. What makes this a graphical titan is its micro-detail density. Every alleyway in the city of Port Desire is packed with high-resolution assets, from leaking neon signs with real-time flickering to trash that reacts to your footsteps through a complex wind and physics system. The game utilizes Unreal Engine 5's Lumen to its absolute limit, creating a world where light feels heavy and dirty. You can see the grime on the camera lens, the chromatic aberration around the edges of bright lights, and a rain system that doesn't just look like a filter, but actually pools on surfaces and flows through gutters based on the geometry of the street. The combat is visceral, featuring a full-body awareness system where you see your character's hands and feet interacting with the world, casting realistic shadows on every weapon and gadget you use. It's a gritty, oversaturated, and technically dense experience that proves that when you focus on a smaller, more detailed world, you can achieve a level of photorealism that vast open-world games can only dream of. Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. Coming from the minds at Sony's Santa Monica studio, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet is a new IP that aims to do for sci-fi what God of War did for mythology. This is a visual showcase of alien biomes. We are seeing flora and fauna that don't just look weird, but are rendered with biological precision. Plants that pulse with bioluminescence that serves as a real-time light source for the environment. The heretic powers involve distorting gravity and space, which results in some of the most complex screen space distortion and particle effects ever seen. When you warp reality, the light bends around your character as if you're looking through a black hole. The character design is equally impressive, featuring alien races with skin textures that utilize advanced shaders to simulate scales, slime, or translucent membranes. The scope of the space combat, with massive capital ships reflecting the light of distant nebulas through ray-traced mirrors, is a testament to the PS5's ability to handle massive scale without losing a single frame of cinematic quality. It's a bold, colorful, and technically flawless vision of the future. InZOI. While it might look like a life simulator, InZOI is secretly one of the most demanding and visually impressive games of this generation. Using Unreal Engine 5, Krafton has created a digital twin of reality. What makes it a graphical powerhouse is the global illumination and material physics. You can customize every inch of your character's home, and the way the morning light hits a velvet sofa versus a polished marble floor is indistinguishable from a high-end architectural visualization. The characters, known as ZOIs, feature a skin shading system that includes dynamic pores and sweat, and their clothing uses a real-time cloth simulation that accounts for thickness and weight. Silk flows differently than denim, and you can see it in every movement. The City View mode is where the tech really shines, rendering thousands of individual lives, cars, and lights with a level of detail that makes the city feel like a living, breathing organism. It's a game that humbles the industry by showing that even a non-action title can be a benchmark for the most advanced rendering techniques available in 2026.
The Blood of Dawnwalker is a gothic action RPG that feels like a high-budget evolution of the Souls-like genre, focusing heavily on volumetric atmosphere. The game is set in a world of eternal twilight, which allows the developers to show off an incredible shadow casting system. Every source of The Blood of Dawnwalker is a gothic action RPG that feels like a high-budget evolution of the Souls-like genre, focusing heavily on volumetric atmosphere. The game is set in a world of eternal twilight, which allows the developers to show off an incredible shadow casting system. Every source of light, from a flickering candle to a magical explosion, casts sharp, accurate shadows from every object in the room, including the individual blades of grass outside. The Dawnwalker himself is a masterpiece of design, with a cloak that uses vertex animation to move realistically during high-speed combat. But the real showstopper is the liquid simulation. Since blood is a central theme, the game features a system where liquids pool, splatter, and dry realistically on different surfaces. If you fight in the rain, the blood washes away. If you're in a dry crypt, it stains the stone. This level of environmental persistence, combined with the grim, highly detailed art style, makes The Blood of Dawnwalker a dark, beautiful, and technically superior showcase of what modern consoles can do when they focus on mood and material fidelity.
Onimusha: Way of the Sword. Capcom has decided to resurrect one of its most beloved franchises, and Onimusha: Way of the Sword is the result of years of research into fantastical historical realism. What makes this game a visual landmark in 2026 is its real-time cinematic combat system. Every swing of protagonist Samanosuke's katana slices through the air with volumetric distortion effects, and blade clashes generate sparks that dynamically light the environment through ray tracing. The vegetation of feudal Japan has been rendered with unprecedented density. We're not talking just about grass, but bamboo forests where each stalk can be individually cut, reacting to the physics of the strike and the direction of the wind. Samurai armor uses a layered metal shader system, allowing you to clearly see the shine of steel, the wear of lacquer, and crisp environmental reflections. The design of the Genma monsters has been elevated to pure horror, with organic textures that look wet and pulsating. It's a game that balances the poetic beauty of Japanese landscapes with extreme brutality, delivering visuals so clean and detailed that they redefine what we expect from a sword-focused action game. Blood Message. If there is a game that defines the concept of next-generation action and adventure, that game is Blood Message. The focus here is organic photorealism. Forget clean environments. This game dives headfirst into filth, blood, and decay with a level of detail that is genuinely unsettling. The viscous liquids technology is the technical highlight. Blood isn't just a red texture. It has density, reflects light realistically, and pools into cracks in the ground according to the environment's geometry.
Lighting is almost entirely based on path tracing, which means that if you light a match in a dark room, the light will bounce off damp brick walls, creating soft shadows and penumbras that naturally conceal lurking creatures. The audio design is tightly integrated with the visuals, where the sound of footsteps in blood or mud is so faithful that it helps you pinpoint danger. It's a seamless experience that leverages the power of the SSD to load 8K textures instantly, ensuring that no matter how close you get to a wall or an enemy, the illusion of reality never breaks. It is the pinnacle of adventure and technical visual achievement.
Tides of Annihilation. To close out the list, we have Tides of Annihilation, an open-world epic that takes the simulation of scale and destruction to a level never seen before. Set in a world where floating islands and oceans suspended in midair are the norm, the game uses Unreal Engine 5 to process an absurd amount of particles and fluids in real time. The standout feature here is the dynamic waves and weather system. The sea isn't just a flat surface, it's a physical mass that reacts to combat, explosions, and altered gravity, creating tsunamis and whirlpools that actively reshape the battlefield's topology. The draw distance is a technical marvel. You can stand atop a mountain and see kilometers of forests, cities, and moving ships, all with real-time shadows and without the infamous object pop-in. Combat involves elemental magic that alters the physical state of matter, freezing the ocean to create bridges, or evaporating water to form vapor curtains that block enemy vision. It's a spectacle of light, color, and physics that proves the new generation has finally reached a point where artists' imagination is no longer limited by hardware.
Looking at these 15 titles makes it clear that the next 2 years won't be just about another game, but about the moment when the barrier between the real and the digital finally became optional. The power of 2026 hardware, combined with graphics engines like the RE engine, is delivering worlds we don't just visit, we feel them through the screen. From this heavyweight list, which of these games do you think will be the true graphical watershed moment of this generation? And which one are you most excited to test on your own console?